How's it going, everyone? Sitting here getting ready to try to do a video, and but the wind keeps, I don't know if I'm gonna be successful in doing it, or I'm gonna have to change locations and figure something out, right? But meanwhile, because of this wind, it got me to thinking. So I'll try it out, and we'll talk about a little bit of something else about this. Has to do with this wind for now, and otherwise I got video. I want to talk about some stuff about we'll talk about women and the Jezebel spirit, right, in the next video anyways, not this one. That's sure to, I don't know, probably rubbed some people the wrong way, right? Anyways, but so I wanted to do an update, something that maybe, you know, I'll throw some things out here as I think of them sometimes in my videos, about, because we've been talking about the judgments coming and all this and that, right? And you know, especially for the judgments coming here to America, if whether you want to choose to believe that's probably happening or not. But so one thing I just I maybe missed, should have thrown out in my last video. I'll throw this in there. Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, verse 43 through 53. Let's just take a look at that for a minute. And before we get in and talk about the weather and this wind and stuff, this way I feel like I got this out of the way, because there's a note I made to myself that I'm like, oh, you know, I had that wrote down for a while back, and then when I got to making the video, I didn't have it in my notes and forgot it. And so let's take a look at that. 28, Deuteronomy 28, 43 through 53. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, and a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and eat the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kine, or flocks, or thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high fenced walls come down, wherein thou trusted, throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all the land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. That's really all far as I need to go on that. You know, I'm just, you know, as we can see, as I said in my, I believe my last video, where the thumbnail says they're already here. It's we can see how, one, the strangers have already been pouring in and taking over. And, you know, the rest of that judgment is just gonna, it's just unfolding right now. And then, you know, as what I believe things are gonna be kicking off probably sooner than later. And then when that happens, then the enemy, you know, we're gonna be down to eating our own flesh. I don't know, we'll see. Now let's talk about this weather though. You know, I got to thinking, because I don't know if it's affecting this camera, it was sitting where it's at, you know, but sometimes it picks up real heavy and blows all through here. It's maybe calming down a little bit now. But I got to thinking, and I've thought this for a while, and it just hits me a lot of times in the well, it used to a lot more when I had my bike, right? Because I noticed over the years, more and more, there's no days without wind. There, you know, you notice it more. You know, I noticed it. I started noticing it a while back. You know, several years back, as a biker. You know, because I'm like, it affects me. It affects how you ride. It affects your riding. You know, sometimes it makes not such a great ride because of all the wind, and it's not always real windy, but there's like hardly really any days anymore without wind. You know, and so, you know, what is it? Well, climate change, right? Not global warming, but climate change. And, you know, climate change actually is real. I don't side with all the bullcrap goes on about it, and you know, there's nothing we're gonna do to reverse it, that we're gonna do to, you know, combat it properly, right? It's because it's really the signs of the times. And now we can say that this and that is man-made, or they're affecting it, like they're finding ways to control the weather and finding ways to control all kinds of stuff in nature, right? And so they are, you know, and this is true, but still it comes down to a matter of God's judgment, and you know, and some of these things, the things they are doing, it's nature combating back. You know, we're polluting the skies, and nature, you know, has to fight back from that. We're polluting the waters, all this stuff, you know, nature has to find a way to fight back. And I say nature, but right, this is all God's creation, right? So it's, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Let's take the wind, for example. I gotta wonder for a minute. I just want to throw this out there. We can do, it's more a subject for another video, I suppose, to get in detail about it. But what about this rabbit hole? The windmills, you know, wind generators, right? Or whatever. These big things are popping up all over the place. Now, here in this area, the wind, I'm just saying this is a coincidence or what? But here, not so much right in Defiance, but on the outsides of Defiance, here in as we get towards Indiana and stuff, it's all a bunch of them wind things been popping up all over, and it's happening a lot of places. Windmills and solar mills are putting farms or whatever they're putting up, right? But the wind I'm talking about, that you notice, as a biker, sometimes it's not real heavy winds, but sometimes it's just winds. You know, you just enough, right? And it's just winds, and there's hardly any still days, and if they are still, that the wind ain't blowing much, then they're unbearably hot. But what is, you know, so what about these windmills? You know, I'm not convinced that, because as they started popping up here is when I started noticing the winds on a daily basis, right? Yeah, I mean, you can call me crazy. I'm not saying this is, you know, we'll get more into this. We'll dig more into it in another video. But are these things actually pushing wind? You know, what good are they doing as a generator half the time you don't see them on a windy day even, and they're just sitting there still? But when you see them on more, it's a windier day. You know, are they, you know, it's like the little butterfly effect, right? Or like you throw a rock in the river out here, you know, and you get, and it expands out and expands out and expands out. That's the way wind, you get a little bit of wind, and it goes out further and further and further until it, just saying. But anyways, aside from that, it's just the winds have changed, right? We have climate change. It's real, but it's not what they're trying to cash in and use it to control us. It's not what they're claiming. It's the signs of the times, and we don't want to face that. And it's judgment's coming, and the world is changing to turn us, it's changing to what it says it's going to become, right? These are the signs of the times. Climate change is real, right? Nature is changing. So then we go to, anyway, sorry about that. I didn't realize my thing stopped. Anyway, so, climate change, and we're going to combat climate change. I gotta watch what I'm saying. I'm not trying to, anyone who's not watched my videos before, welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. And but this stuff we talk about on this channel, and by all means, everyone use the comments to share your thoughts on anything I'm saying. But we I'm not trying to break any rules or stuff like that, so I'm trying to be careful of some of the stuff I say sometimes. Don't want no more videos taken down. But we think about this, and it's all this stuff in nature that goes on, whether it be the changing of the weather, the changing, climate change, whatever you want to see it as, or new diseases coming out, viruses or whatever. And though they may be manipulated and pushed along by man, still they God has his hand that he can allow it or disallow it, right? Anyways, but then we get down to when we realize, this is the signs of the times, that yes, the world is changing. This is true, but we're not going to combat it, and this is what we got to realize. We need to step aside, especially any of us who are trying to follow God and do His will. We need to step aside and let His will be done, right? A lot of us forget that many times, and especially the powers that be think they are, but this is what I'm getting at. I want to, so we got people saying, oh, in the end times, we're further along in times than people realize. And there's signs that people, because you're expecting it to, you read something and you expect it to be this way and that way, or you got these teachers telling you, oh, this is what it really means or whatever. And, by all means, I'm not saying I'm totally correct on all things I say. And, I'm not, by all means, always, I encourage you to have your own Bible, and sometimes I'm just saying stuff that are along the lines of the Bible, being biblical, not necessarily throwing scripture at you or whatever. But you got to use your own discernment and come to your own conclusions and beliefs. And so the thing is, so we have. But then so towards the end times, they're like, well, how is the world, this comes together in a moment here, how's the world, these certain things that are happening, how that's supposed to happen in the end times, right? And, a lot of it's taught that, okay, the world's armies, the rulers of the world are going to come together, bring the armies of the world, to declare war on God, right? It's pretty much, to sum it up. And and it's like people can't even believe that, so how much of it is true or real, or that it's happening, right? So we have, but then, so as an example, Revelation chapter 19 verse 19, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his armies. Right? And so what I'm getting at is that's already happening. They're already gathering together to declare war on God. And they're using the armies, and and they're slowly implementing it all in the name of war on climate change, war on this virus or that virus, right? They declare war on everything now, right? Of all these things. Now, I'm not just because they say they're declaring war on it, it means it's, but I'm saying like these judgments that come out that are because of nature, right? So they're declaring war on nature, on the acts of nature. They're declaring war on God. And this is what they're doing, and they're gathering all the nations together and forcing them to agree into all these things. And so the thing is, yes, soon enough, when now, like I'm not trying to let's not get things wrong here. Just because the certain judgments are coming to America don't mean that like if tomorrow all the shit goes to shit here, don't mean that Jesus is coming back that exact day. All this is there's still things going to be happening and to build up to that. But the point is, they're already gathering their armies together to declare war on God. Look at the is it the UN or whatever? Their headquarters is on I think it's Mount Hermon, right? Wherever all the fallen angels fell down onto, and now that's their whatever. They're declaring war. Yes, it is all spiritual. All these things are spiritual, and people don't realize that, and the things going on in our lives, all of it, spiritual battle going on. But a point I just want to make, is all the climate is changing, and if we pay attention, they are already gathering together, the nations and kings together, and together the armies that answer to all those together, preparing for the battle against God. Whose side are you on? We already know who wins, right? Anyways, that's all right. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to get to this other video. Talk about the how many Christian women or think that they're good or whatever actually are infected with the Jezebel spirit. As maybe that's how certain teachers are out there teaching it, but there is a thing. So we're gonna get down to that anyways, but for the next video. So I gotta see if I can fight the wind or see what we're gonna do to do that one. And until then, I just wanted to throw that little update in there about what I missed out from Deuteronomy, and then talk a little bit about this whole climate change and and how it all, if we think about it and just take a step back and think, apply your heart to know the wisdom and take a step back and look at how it all plays out, and really in the name of climate change and in the name of fighting whatever other natural things, they are already gathering together to declare war on God. We don't see it as that. They're not, like the UN and the World Health and all these groups, the WEF, all that, they're not all coming together saying, oh, we're Satanists and we're against God and we're going to have war with God. But it's all in the making under this name and that name, and it's all, leading right to it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. See ya.